Why do women lose interest and leave a man? Why does it happen so often when you think that everything is going good with her? Whether you've been dating her for a few months or a few years, what really causes a woman to lose attraction and reject a guy? Because one thing I've learned from coaching men for the past 16 years, it's almost never the reason we think. So in this video, I want to go over the 4 psychological reasons that cause a woman to break things off even when things seem to be going good. And then I'm going to share how each of these can be prevented with a few small tweaks to how you interact with her. Hi, I'm Bobby Rio, and one of the things that quite frankly sucks as a dating coach is that a lot of the time when a guy finally comes around to hiring me, he's already lost the woman. She's already started pulling away. She's given him the friend zone speech, or she's told him that she doesn't want anything serious with him anymore. So in this video, I'm gonna go over the 4 most common reasons that a woman will reject a man and end things with him. And I'll also explain what you can do to prevent this. And also, if you're in a situation where you fear you're about to lose a woman, I'll share some tips on how you can turn things around while you'll still have a chance. So before we get into the 4 reasons, I want to be clear about something. There are times when a guy cheats or he's abusive. This video is not about those situations where there's clearly an extenuating circumstance that caused the woman to leave. This video is specifically for the guys who are like, I don't know what happened. Everything was great. We never fought. We seemed to get along. It came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it was like she lost attraction to me. I can tell you this as a guy who's worked with thousands of men over the years. It never comes out of nowhere. You're just not noticing the signs because women are very subtle and they expect you to pick up the hints. And when you don't, it causes their attraction to fade even quicker. So let's go through the 4 main reasons that she will leave you. And we'll start with reason number 1. And that's she gets bored. I think it was the movie The Tao of Steve where he says boredom equals death with girls. And he is right. The opposite of love, I always tell clients, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Indifference is the biggest enemy to attraction because if she's indifferent to you, then she has 0 emotional investment, 0 feelings towards you. And a woman needs to feel something. This is why boredom itself is so deadly. It creeps in when everything becomes too predictable, too routine. As guys, we tend to hate drama. I know I do, and most of the guys that I deal with hate drama. But for women, occasional drama provides them energy. It's energizing for them. It's draining for us guys, but women get energized by it. Think of it like this. If your relationship goes too long without any drama, she gets sort of mentally sleepy. The drama wakes her back up. But let's be clear. I'm not talking about starting fights with her or creating problems out of thin air. Drama doesn't need to mean these like huge blow-ups or fights or any of that. It means emotional and mental engagement. Here's what I mean. Something as simple as breaking patterns that make your relationship predictable. For example, if you're the kind of guy who always texts back after 30 minutes or 30 seconds, or you dish out compliments the second you see her, these are patterns and she goes into autopilot mode when you stick to familiar routines. But when you break a pattern, it snaps her out of autopilot and has her wondering, what's he up to? Why didn't he say anything about my dress today? Why didn't he text me back? If you usually send her a good morning text on her way to work and then you don't one day, now at work, she has drama. She's wondering, why didn't he text me yet? What is he doing? That drama refocuses her mind on you. Remember this, attention equals attraction. A woman feels most attracted to a man when she's thinking about him. If she knows exactly what to expect from you, what is there to think about? What is there to obsess over in her mind? I often say that women crave what I call a mental challenge. So what's a mental challenge? It's her wondering, can I get this guy? Can I get more of his attention? What is he thinking? I wish I knew what he was thinking. You need to give her that mental challenge. Let her strive a little bit for your attention. It makes her value it more when she finally gets it. This occurs throughout the entire relationship. In the beginning, it might be the challenge of, can I get him to commit to me? But as you become exclusive and boyfriend and girlfriend, it's the challenge of, can I get more of his attention? attention. This is one of the big reasons why we stress cultivating the quality of being what we call autonomous, independent. The more autonomous you are, the more you're naturally challenging to a woman because it's harder for her to get all your attention. You've got all these things going on and she wants to be the most important thing in your life. So in regards to preventing her from getting bored, first thing you want to do is you want to notice when you're following a pattern in your relationship with her, and then you want to occasionally break it. That moment where you don't send that good night text, that's when she's suddenly glued to her phone waiting to hear from you. Remember, it's okay to keep her guessing, and it's okay to maintain levels of mystery with her. You don't need to be an open book. Your unpredictability will make her think about you more, and that's where attraction continues to grow. Like I said, if you're always an open book, she's gonna stop reading. Keep some pages hidden. That's what keeps her coming back for more. Okay, reason number 2, loss of respect. This is a big one. One of the quickest ways for a woman to lose interest is if she starts losing respect for you. And respect can erode for several reasons, but let's talk about a few of the major ones. First up, lack of ambition. Nothing kills respect faster than a man who's going nowhere in life. Ambition isn't just about making money, which a lot of people think. It's not just about climbing the corporate ladder. It's about having goals, passions, and things that get you fired up. If you're just like coasting through life, playing video games, sitting on the couch all day, she's gonna notice, and it won't be long before her respect for you starts to wane. Another reason is lack of boundaries. If a woman notices that your friends, your boss, your coworkers, they all take advantage of you and treat you disrespectfully, and you don't stand up for yourself, guess what? She'll lose respect for you too, and she'll start treating you the same way they do. You need to have boundaries, and you need to enforce these boundaries with everyone in your life. It's not about being confrontational. It's about respecting yourself and expecting other people to do the same. If you let people walk all over you, especially when you're around your woman, her respect for you will plummet. Okay, so another respect killer, something I notice a lot with guys, is when a woman believes that you don't have options other than her. It's crucial that she feels that other women find you attractive and that you have the capability to attract and flirt with other women, and that you're willing to walk away because you know you can get somebody else. This isn't about making her jealous. It's about showing her that you're with her because you choose to be with her, not because you need to be with her, not because you have no other options. Again, a woman wants a man who chooses to be with her, not a man who needs to be with her. So what I often tell guys is, there's a saying to keep your sword sharp. Don't let yourself get so rusty that you fear being single, because once you start fearing being single, she's gonna notice. Instead, what you should do is put yourself in positions where you're interacting with women and it's commonplace, and you develop a mindset of abundance, and you're very comfortable about women and you're not afraid to lose her. So here's a counterintuitive reason that a woman will lose respect for you. A woman will lose respect for you if you change who you are for her. I remember listening to a guy, Alex Hermosi, and he was saying how his wife hates that he wears vests. But he also knows that if he stopped wearing them just because she hates them, that she'd lose respect for him. It's a great anecdote to keep in mind, because a lot of guys think that if they take all the suggestions that the woman is giving them, oh, you should grow a beard, oh, you should join this club, or you should start playing golf, that it'll make her like you more. But in the end, if you're her little sheep, she loses respect for you. Now, if you fear that a woman has already lost respect for you, I have 2 videos on my channel that you might want to watch next. The first is called 5 Ways to Make a Woman Respect You Immediately, and the other is called How to Regain Her Respect and Desire. You can find them both on my channel. Okay, let's move on to the next reason that a woman will leave you. And reason number 3 is lack of taking on the masculine role. In every relationship, there's a balance of masculine and feminine energy. But when a man fails to embody that masculine role, it can lead to a significant drop in a woman's attraction and respect for him. If you force a woman to take that masculine role, she will eventually seek out a man who lets her stay in the feminine one. how does this play out in a relationship? Firstly, let's talk about emotional neediness. It's okay to be vulnerable. In fact, vulnerability as you get to know a woman can actually strengthen the connection. However, there's a very fine line between sharing your feelings and relying on her for emotional support. We talked about ambition earlier, and a woman feeling like you constantly are leaning on her for support will see you as a man who does not make things happen, who has no ambition, who has no backbone. If you find yourself constantly needing reassurance or emotional hand-holding, she will start to feel like she's your therapist and not your partner. This will lead her to resent you, and it will almost always lead to a loss of attraction. There's also the issue of leadership within the relationship. If you're always waiting for her permission to make moves, or you're always second-guessing your decisions to the point where she has to step in and take the lead, that's a problem. So this could be as simple as deciding where to go out on a date or being confident moving things forward sexually. Don't always wait for her to go, yeah, I'm in the mood tonight. Take the initiative. When a man doesn't assume a role that involves initiative and confidence, it forces her into that position of being the man in the relationship. This doesn't mean that you need to dominate her. It doesn't mean that you have to make every single decision. It's about showing that you can lead and you can make choices confidently, which is inherently attractive. So hundreds of thousands of years of evolutionary psychology has women attracted to a man she feels can protect her and provide for her. Even little things like killing the spider, taking charge and changing her flat tire when it happens, making sure that she's safe. All of these trigger that evolutionary attraction instinct. And when that's missing, whereas if you come across as scared or weak or too easy to manipulate, she'll see you as someone who can't protect her, who can't provide for her, and eventually she will leave you for someone who can. Okay, so the next one, and this one is one that no guy really wants to hear, and the reason is that she's seeking a more exciting sex life. Here's the thing. For women, mental stimulation is just as crucial as the physical part. So this is not necessarily about being bad at the mechanics of sex. It's more about not tapping into her fantasies enough, not getting her mentally engaged. The book I always recommend guys reading, called The Secret Garden. It's a prime example of the power of fantasy in sexual relationships. It's a book where women share what they think about during masturbation, or what they're thinking about or fantasizing about when they're with their boyfriends or husbands. And if you want to know how shocking some women's fantasies are, I really suggest reading it, because it really gets you inside the head of a woman. Every woman has her own set of fantasies, and it's your job as her boyfriend, her husband, her lover to recognize and explore these fantasies with her. But she's not going to hand you a roadmap, and she probably won't even explicitly tell you what they are if you ask her about them, right? Unless she's like a super open woman, she's probably embarrassed to even bring it up. And even if you say, what are your fantasies? She's probably not going to openly tell you. Let's be honest, you're probably not telling her all of your fantasies either. So you have to pay close attention to the hints that she might drop. Even unconscious hints. Does a particular scene from a movie or a TV show seem to get her in the mood? Maybe it's the thrill of getting caught. Maybe she likes the idea of dominance, or maybe she likes the idea of being submissive. If you pay attention, you'll notice. Maybe she gets turned on by the idea of you being with another woman, or maybe her being with another woman, right? This doesn't mean that you have to actually bring another woman into your relationship and act out that fantasy, but you do dip your toes in it. Maybe you bring her with you to a strip club and you let her watch you get a lap dance, or maybe you get her a lap dance. Here's the thing, not all fantasies should be acted on. It could ruin a relationship, but that doesn't mean you can't play into them a bit if you know that they excite her. When you pick up on these, you can start introducing small elements of them, small elements of these fantasies into your relationship. So for instance, if you notice that she gets turned on by scenes where characters are in semi-public places having sex, well, you can lean into that idea. It could be something as simple as kissing her passionately in a secluded part of the park. It could be something like bringing her on an empty beach at night, something that lets her engage in that fantasy and prevents her mind from seeking it out somewhere else. Because the thing about a fantasy is if you repress it enough, you begin to seek it out. Remember, this isn't just about trying new things. It's about her realizing that she can explore these mental fantasies with you. You're not going to judge her, and you're actually going to lean into them. So I'm going to give you a quick recap in a minute, but if a woman recently lost interest in you, or if a woman got bored with you and it's a habit, it happens all the time, I have a short quiz that you can take that will identify what I call the attraction blocks that could be causing girls to pull away. It's usually because of subtle mistakes that you're making that you're not even aware of. You don't even realize you're making these mistakes. After coaching thousands of guys over the past 14 years, I realized that men fall into certain categories with women and their relationships, and in each category is prone to making specific mistakes with women. Many of these mistakes are pretty easy to fix once you identify them, but most guys never even realize they're making them. So I created a quick 10-question quiz about relationships and flirting and dealing with women, and your answers will reveal your attractive personality type and which category you're in. Then it will pinpoint your mistakes and how to fix them. The quiz is completely free. You can click the link below. I put it right in the description. Literally 10 questions, and then it'll formulate your custom profile with a plan of how to fix your subtle mistakes. There's a link for the quiz below. And now let's do a quick recap of everything that we discussed. First, you want to avoid her getting bored, and you do this by breaking patterns and giving her a mental challenge that keeps her thinking about you. Next, you want to be ambitious. You want to show her that you have options, and you want to refuse to change who you are just to please her so that she doesn't lose respect for you. You also want to stay firmly in the masculine role. This means you lead her and you don't lean on her. And finally, you want to tap into her sexual fantasies so that she doesn't begin to seek them out from other guys. And again, if you're wondering where you might have messed up with a specific woman or with a variety of women in the past, I have a quiz below that you can take, and leave us a comment and let us know what you want me to cover in the next video. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe so you don't miss a future one.